Excuse me there. And meanwhile, we have Angry moving out with a small task force of Marines once again. Hopefully he learned his lesson from the first time. This is just really exposed position for these Marines to be in, especially with no medevacs and especially no Marauders out in the field. And now Idra's going to move up once again. These Marines got to pull back right now. There we go. Marines going to... what? He's pushing out even farther. Oh, Angry. Man, you can't deal with this swarm at this point. There we go, pulling back to the protection of the siege tanks. Wow, Idra actually overextending himself a little bit. He probably got a little bit too greedy, hoping to catch those Marines with his Mutalisk and Banelings. However, being met by the tank fire in the back and completely getting his army disintegrated. However, Idra retaliates immediately by getting a ton of Banelings. He's getting 9 Banelings immediately now out on the field to deal with this army from vVv Angry. However, now he does have the combat shield upgrade, so that's going to give the Marines 10 more HP to deal with the just exploding messes of these Banelings. Meanwhile, Idra is starting to get his Mutalisk count pretty heavy now, and he's going to try to go for random assaults, picking off 2 Marines here and there, doing what he can with the Mutalisk at this point. Meanwhile, Angry has established himself at the 3rd base with the Planetary Fortress. That's going to help a lot. But again, he's trying to move out, taking out a couple creep tumors, but he's exposing his army just really heavily at the cost of just a single or just 2 creep tumors. It's not worth losing 10, 15 Marines. Look at this Marine just completely getting ripped apart. Not really getting anything. I don't know what Angry is really trying to do with this small task force. And now more Marines getting caught off guard by these Mutalisks. Not really, I don't think, killing even a single Mutalisk. He's just going to get completely ripped apart. And meanwhile, Angry's still trying to slow push his way down the map to see what kind of position he can take. Force Idra to go attack him instead of him engaging Idra. Angry now has a nice sizable amount of Marines. If he can get some nice Marine micro off, he can definitely deal with the Banelings. However, look at this army from Idra. It's starting to look really scary from the Zerg player. Meanwhile, Angry once again going to move out with the slightly big task force to try to take down this expansion. But again, as like in this position, Zerg can reinforce his bases so fast, and look at these Marines just getting completely wiped out. I couldn't even see the Marines. They just melted so fast, and they didn't even manage to get the hatchery. So Angry pretty much just throwing 16 Marines away for the cost of nothing, basically. Just some HP that will once again be regenerated by the hatchery. Meanwhile, we have a huge engage moving down the middle of the map. Idra going in with the Mutalisk first, try to take some damage. Meanwhile, Banelings rolling in everywhere. Just the mass of the swarm going to the 3rd base of the Terran player. However, getting a little bit too close to Planetary Fortress. I'm sputtering my words right here. Nice little elevator to the low ground, saving some of his Marines. This one Baneling, oh, look at that Baneling just rolling around, not being able to get to the Marines there. And Idra actually coming out with a little bit heavier losses than I expected in that battle. I mean, he went a little bit too close to the Planetary Fortress, and the Planetary Fortress really helped. And Angry had some nice Marine micro in the middle of that map in the battle that really helped him defend. And he just, that was a really nice little defense from our Terran player, vVv Angry. Now he's gonna catch some Banelings being morphed. Oh, one Baneling did manage to explode on the Marines, weakening them completely, and making them really nice dinner for these Zerglings and Mutalisks. And now the army of vVv Angry is pretty much non-existent as he tries to macro up his army once again. Meanwhile, Idra has taken that time to get his 4th and 5th bases up and running. And Idra, man, the notorious for being the macro Zerg, playing the huge... actually, hold that thought, because we have a nice little engagement coming in from vVv Angry. Wow! Nice back and forth micro from the Marines, but again, I don't know if that's enough. Wow, Mutalisk popping a lot. Idra does not want to lose those Mutalisks like that, going head on against stimmed Marines, and he's going to have to back off. Idra taking some heavy losses on the Mutalisks there. More Marines from Angry. I don't know where they're going. I think they have a death wish. I mean, there's just been task forces of Marines from Angry that just not have done anything except for feed the lust of flesh for those Zerglings. That's pretty much all these task forces have really accomplished. Now we have a Thor out on the field. That's going to help a lot versus the Zerglings and Banelings especially. And even the Mutalisk, a great choice by Angry. But again, one Thor versus the whole swarm. I don't know how much he can do. This Lord, look how much damage he's taking. Zergling is just completely ignoring those Marines there to deal with the Thor, and Baneling's getting a little bit too close to the Planetary Fortress. Fortress doing a great job wiping those out, and Idra once again losing a lot of his army. However, again, as a Zerg player, especially like I was saying before, on 5 bases and playing Idra, who loves this macro style. I mean, this is his turf right now. This is his house. He loves this kind of game, especially with the 5 bases and the potential for a 6 gold expansion nonetheless. I mean, it's going to be pretty ridiculous. And vVv angry. Look at his army getting smaller each time, despite having some nice defense. Ooh, hold that thought. We got a nice little medevac drop here in the 3 o'clock position. However, going to get completely wiped out without doing anything. Very reminiscent of this entire game, pretty much. The story of vVv Angry's sort of attempts to do damage. Unfortunately for him, Idra again now massing up a nice little army, and again, he loves this kind of play. He loves just macroing things up, not really having to worry about his economy. Now having 5 bases, now we have Angry desperately trying to get another base, but nice little creep deny from this Overlord, and that's going to help a lot because this command center can't even land. Meanwhile, we have an engagement in the middle of the map, and again, a lot of Banelings getting wasted on the tanks. Unfortunately for Idra, and these Marines managing to live through, and Angry once again trying to move out and trying to get something done, but again, you can't get things done with this tiny group of Marines. Just gonna get picked apart by Mutalisks in the back and the Spine Crawlers. Again, Angry, what are you doing, my friend? You just can't get things done with these small task forces. You might as well just keep them at home, because just standing there and attacking pretty much serve the same purpose. Actually, attacking is even worse, because you're just gonna lose them. And here we go. Idra's gonna once again try to take more of an aggressive stance, trying to deny this 4th base coming in from Angry here. Mutalisks going head on against a Marine. Not really good, but again, Idra's got so many Mutalisks to Marines right now. He doesn't really care about that. Again, small task force of Angry once again gonna get completely surrounded by the swarm. Nice little micro from Angry, but again, at some point, micro just really fails to cut it, especially when it's 6 Marines versus just an infinite amount of Zerglings. I'm not even going to bother to count them right now. Look at this. Idris has so many units. He's got like 3 task forces running around the map. Here we go. He's engaging the Marines from Angry once again. Angry losing track of those guys. I don't think that was intentional. And he's losing just stuff left and right, getting picked apart pretty much. And look at this, Zerglings running into his newly formed 4th base, ripping apart the SCVs, and there's nothing really there to defend this. Now a couple Marines now trying to move in, trying to finish things off, and these Zerglings are now stuck between a rock and a hard place. The hard place being the shots of these Marines. Wow, Angry got to move back to the cover of the siege tanks. There we go. He's moving back a little bit now, and Marines managing to wipe out the excuse me, Mutalisks from EG Idra. And now he's going to try to get this base up once again. However, his forces have just been completely whittled down. Idra's reinforcing like no other, and once again, Angry going to overextend himself possibly a little bit into just dangerous territory and get his army wiped out once again. This has happened so many times. I mean, it's kind of like a bad thing that happens over and over and over and over again. You're just kind of dull to it, you know. It's still really bad, but it doesn't really affect you as that much. And here we go, just more Mutalisks now. Idra's got, I mean, enough Mutalisks right now, I think, to finish off the game. There we go. That's the GG from Angry. He doesn't even want to continue playing this because his army just every time has just not been effective. Calling out the GG. So Idra gonna take this 2-0 for Team EG as we move into game number 3 here between Team EG versus vVv Gaming in the SCL. Stay tuned for game number 3.